there. Let's come back to West Africa and FEJA. We talked about that last week, and it was good to finally see our own boy ChuX from Nigeria, after several trials, clinch the Street Fighter 6 title. And I think he's made up for that loss at Gamer X3, Gamer 3, the Gamer event last year when he lost in the final. So good stuff from ChuX.
Yes, well, I'm happy he pulled a comeback, because after that loss at Gamer X3, many people had already started speculating, the glory days are starting to come. Exactly. So for him to now come back after 6 tries for FEJA to actually clinch it, I'm happy for him. I hope it's not just a flash in the pan or a case of weaker opponents, but once again, you only play who is in front of you. So I hope he's using that to he's using that to strengthen himself. Another surprise was Tekken. So Tekken, the fan favorite, Shaolin has been to the Esports World Cup. He has been to the previous event by Saudi before the World Cup. I don't remember what it was called now. So he's Gamers 8. So he's a fan favorite. He's popular, and then he was shocked in the final. He got to the final, and he was shocked by DarkMoodAngel from Togo. When I saw the fixture, I was like, this is a no-brainer. Shaolin would take this. But surprisingly, and you know how fans are, once you've reigned so much, they are always looking for who is going to shock you, and the crowd went wild. So I hope it's a learning curve for him, that it's time to go back to the drawing board, prepare yourself, because there will be more events next year, and then get ready to take the crown back and become regain the glory days, being the king of Tekken in Africa.
Of course, more than anything, what I believe is there would always be these instances. It's the same way you would not see Morocco or Egypt or Ghana or Nigeria win the Africa Cup of Nations in football every year. You understand? So there would always be this kind of instances, and for me, it's a good vibe for the games, considering the fact that it builds confidence in some other people to believe they can take these guys on. But let's come back to ChuX, and I have 2 questions. First question is, how soon is it possible for ChuX to break onto the international scene? You're just talking about this guy now, Shaolin, and a few other ones that we've seen, even if they've not won any international tournament, but they've played on those big stages and those big platforms that have given them reckoning. How long more do you think it will take him to break into that international relevance? And 2, which may impact the first question I asked, is how many years more do we think he has under his belt? Because if I'm right and I'm correct, ChuX should be somewhere in his mid-30s right now, which means there's a lot of, the connection, like they say, connection and movement weighs in when age sets in. So 2 questions then. Let me just get your thoughts on that before we move to the next story.
Yeah, so I'll be starting off with the second question first. I don't think he has long. Honestly, between you and I think I'll give him probably a year more. And why I say so is because, most especially because of the Olympic Esports Games. If there is a Street Fighter there, then that creates more awareness to more gamers about the title. Don't forget, at Gamer X3, we thought he was everything, be all, know all, until someone from Kenya came to surprise him. So if those titles show up in the Esports World Cup, if those titles show up in Olympic Esports Games, it would start to grow seeds to more gamers. And let's not forget that you have the Gen Zs that are coming into the fold from high school to university who also play these games. Don't forget that in Nigeria we haven't really had a proper sweep of gamers. And I am suspecting, I'm forecasting that come next year, this will be that time when those gates will flood open. So that's answering question 2. And for question 1, I think that international stage, everything he needs to do is in his hands. Shaolin has done that. That if the Tekken community is talking about anything global and they say Africa, his name would always come up. So he's networking. he is, collaborating with the Tekken players globally. ChuX needs to do that. He needs to think beyond FEJA. So once again, he was able to go, that was last year, to the Global Esports Games. He saw a few Street Fighter players. How many of them has he collaborated with? How many of them has he how many of them has he had a stream session with, like, okay, I'm going to play you even if my network is not as good as yours? None. So the issue I have with him is he wins these things, or he competes in these things, and he goes back to his yes, he goes back into his shadow cocoon. He just goes back. So now that he has won FEJA, he will go back again till probably Nigeria needs a Street Fighter player somewhere, and then he'll come out. You will not see anything from him. So
okay, fingers crossed. If this is 1 year more for him to be in the limelight, I think it will be maybe 2 or 3, but let's wait and see. We know there's definitely a lot of on bundle talents out there, that when there's more popularity, they would show up, and that makes it more difficult for the guys. We've seen that happen even with the AFC, new kids, new cats, as they are showing up for that. Okay.